In the wild, unforgiving jungle of the school staff room, one brave teaching assistant faces the ultimate dilemma. Should they make the teacher a cup of tea? If I make them one now, do I have to do it every day, she thinks. What if I don't make one and they think I'm rude? What if I make one and they don't even like tea? What if I accidentally start a tea based power imbalance? She awkwardly clears her throat and glances at the teacher, who seems completely unaware of her inner turmoil. But the teacher sees her looking and says, "I'd love a cup if you're making." She panics, grabs a mug, and starts making the tea, feeling like a contestant on the Great British Brew-Off. Hello, fabulous TAs. I'm Lauren Reesner. I was a TA, one-to-one and HLTA for 20 years. I even did 6 weeks of teacher training and absolutely hated it. And now I create videos that answer all your TA questions. So if you want to learn more about being a TA, growing confidence, cope with interviews, and all manner of other TA related stuff, start right now by subscribing to my channel. Now, before we continue, there are some things I want to say about this video. Firstly, no teaching assistants were forced to make tea in the making of this video. This video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. I am not suggesting that making tea is or should be in a TA's job description. If your contract suddenly includes official school kettle operative, you may want to have a quiet word with HR. Any resemblance to real life staff room tea dilemmas is purely coincidental, or maybe not. I know this is a real thing. And special warning, watching this video may cause spontaneous laughter, unexpected staff room flashbacks, or an uncontrollable urge to make yourself a cuppa. Viewer discretion is advised. The great teaching assistant tea dilemma. Now, all humour aside, well, almost, let's talk about this. Should you, as a TA, make the teacher a cup of tea? This question has haunted many a teaching assistant. It's like an unspoken code in some schools, while in others, nobody expects it at all. So let's break it down. Is it actually part of the job? No. Nowhere in any job description does it say must provide caffeine based sustenance to classroom leaders. Your role is about supporting students and learning, not being an on call barista. But staff room culture varies, and some workplaces have a tea round where everyone takes turns making drinks. If that's the case, it's just a friendly, mutual thing, not a TA specific task. Will the teacher think you're rude if you don't? No reasonable teacher will expect you to be their personal tea maker. Most teachers will happily make their own brew. They've survived on coffee fumes and biscuits for years. That said, if you're making one for yourself and the teacher is there, offering is just a nice thing to do. A simple, "I'm making tea, want one?" is friendly and not subservient. What if you start and cannot stop? The tea trap. Some TAs worry that if they start making tea for the teacher, it'll become expected. Suddenly, you're locked into a lifelong routine of frantic tea making before every break. If you find yourself in this situation, the best way to reset expectations is by switching things up a bit. One day, don't offer, just make your own drink and sit down. The world will keep turning. Another day, wait and see if they ask. And if they do, a light-hearted, "Oh, you're on tea duty today," can shift the balance. The golden rule, mutuality. The best staff rooms work on a mutual respect basis. If a teacher always expects tea but never offers, that's a bit cheeky. If you're the only one making drinks while others sit back, that's not okay. If it feels unfair, set boundaries. You're a teaching assistant, not a tea assistant. The fun way to handle it, if you're ever put on the spot, so for instance, someone says to you, fancy putting the kettle on, and you don't want to, humour is your best friend. You could say things like, sure, but fair warning, I make a tea so strong it dissolves spoons. Or you could say, of course, but I charge £1.50 a cup, milk and sugar extra. Or you could say, no problem, but it's your turn next time. Most people will take the hint. So, the final verdict, to brew or not to brew? Well, if you feel like making a cup for someone, go for it. But if it feels expected or you don't want to, don't. Either way, tea making does not define your value as a TA. You're there to support children, not to be the official hot beverage technician. Having said all that, I used to make tea and coffee for the teachers I worked with more often than not. My take on it was that as a TA, I had more freedom for leaving the classroom than teachers did, and I quite liked to escape into the staff room to make a drink. Want more tips? Take a look at one of these videos. Which one will you choose?